All set?
Hmm.
It's 5:45. The Finance Committee will come to order. Please call the roll.
Kasdorf,
Here.
Tarks, and Mr. Sardina is excused.
We will need a chairperson since Trustee Sardina is not here. I will second that to be the chair. Is there anyone desiring to be heard? None. Consideration of the
Mr.
minute-
Kasdorf,
Oh, do we
is
do
that
no?
is that motion agreed to?
Oh. A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. I will be the chair for the finance. There is no one desiring to be heard. Oh, I'm sorry, but you're for the agenda item, aren't you? Are you Dave? Yeah. Okay, I'll call you up in a second. Consideration of the minutes of August 19th of 2025. I will second. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. New business item number, or no, new business. Review and approve September invoices for $86,839.29.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. New business item 2, review and approve September statement of revenues and expenditures.
I'll make a motion on that.
I will second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. New business item number 3, discussion and possible action on a possible sewer billing reduction of $1,656.21 to DMC Vans located at 12669 West Silver Spring Drive. And I know you're here, so you can step forward. And that button is red on the microphone. Do we have to turn that on?
It is on, and it was green, and now it's red. I think it's just the battery. But to give you some background, Mr. Mock reached out to me about going back in time to February. The DPW notified him, and it was stated in the letter that I attached in the packet that the DPW notified him of high usage for his building. His building usually has about 3,000 gallons of usage on average every quarter. It's not a heavily used building when it comes to water usage. So he had gone up to about 210,000 gallons of water used in the quarter. He quickly notified a plumber. They found that there was a leak about a penny to a nickel or dime sized hole in the pipe underneath one of the offices. It was leaking for, we thought, up to possibly 3 years, due to, if you looked at the trends of the water bill, it went from about 3,000 to 3,500 all the way up to the 210,000, and it increased pretty much every quarter up until that point. So at that point, he got that fixed. There was an emergency building permit pulled. It got adjusted, and the water bill then subsequently went down to 13,000 the next quarter, and then back down to its normal 3,000 to 4,000 gallons in the most recent read. So he has requested that the village look at a possible reduction of the bill. He has not yet paid the bill, but a reduction of the bill in his letter, he asked for over $5,000. After I spoke with MMSD and the village attorney, the books for 2022, 3, 4 have all been closed and audited. So what I had proposed to the village attorney and to the MMSD, and MMSD and the village attorney both signed off on it, is giving him a partial reduction of that $1,656.21. And how I found that is I basically took the usage that he had in the 2 quarters that were affected, that were higher than normal, the 13,000 gallon reading, the 210,000 gallon reading, and I took the sewer usage and I subtracted off the usage that he normally has, which was about, again, like 3,300 when I averaged 5 quarters. Subtracted that off, combine it together. I believe I did include that with the packet, kind of showing that breakdown. of how I got to that number. And then basically what would happen then is the sewer, if this was granted, the sewer bill would then be reduced by that amount. Mr. Mock is here to answer any questions, give his, I guess I'll call it testimony, or his statements, and then I'm free to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Go ahead. And we do have, the board here has your letter that you wrote as well.
Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
I understand that we're responsible for the water usage. I appreciate you considering this. I want to go back a little bit. About 5-6 years ago, fellow that checks our meter came in and said, "Hey, you got a water leak," and we immediately found that one of our urinals in the bathroom leaked. Fixed it right away. So, problem with that, it gave us kind of a false sense of security that somebody was monitoring, which is fine. This was a serious leak that really started slowly, so it was hard to detect. And the circumstances which I laid out in the letter, we didn't catch it. The leak went unnoticed until this February. And in fact, I stated in the letter, I asked my sublet bookkeeper, get me a financial statement for the end of September. And when I got it, I sent back an email saying, utility is way out of line, what's going on? The next day, the guy walked in from the utility and said, "We got a water leak." So that's how weird this was. We paid $5,650 over of normal rate. I understand we're responsible for the water usage, and I paid that. Even though it's inflated, I paid it. Screwed up, and we didn't catch it. I had repairs of $6,600, so it cost me about $10,000 just to take care of that. The problem is the water went into the ground, it didn't go into the sewer. So I feel we're being overcharged because we didn't receive that service. The $5,650 effectively became funds we advanced due to circumstances beyond our control. I'm concerned that this wasn't flagged sooner, although I don't blame the fellow, but he was always kind of on the ball with us. Found that one leak that we had years ago, which kind of created that security. Due to notice earlier, we could have prevented the cost. Still, we couldn't do it. I'm asking for a full refund, and consider that we've been in business here for 50+ years. We've never had any late payments or any problems with the village. And all I'm looking for is fair and honest assessment of this. That I talked to a lot of people, a lot of business people, and nobody can understand why we would have to overpay this much for something we didn't receive. In business for 50 years, we've had overpayments from vendors, we've overpaid vendors, and it's always taken care of. You said an instance where a customer came up from Indiana, paid us $1,000 in $100 bills, and when the girl did the cash register, it was $1,200. The bills got stuck together. I sent them a check back for $200. What you do? This has happened a few times, and we always take care of it. And sometimes we overpay a bill, and our vendor, our insurance company, I remember we sent they double billed us. They sent us a check back. I mean, that's part of doing an honest business. So, just asking for some fairness here. And now you said that we haven't paid the sewer bill. We have, based on that $82 figure or $102.25 figure, we paid those 11 periods twice that is paid here. So what you're asking for is $4,500 in addition to the double payment you've already made. I think that should be noted.
I don't understand what that means.
Okay, if
You paid it twice?
If you look at that last figure,
Yeah.
125, that would have been the normal sewer charge. We paid $200 and some dollars. You've been paid for all those months.
So what we'll do is we'll talk about just the overage or the refund amount. And then afterward, I'll have the front office determine if there was overpayments. But first we'll figure out what credit, if any, is due. And then if you're saying these have already been paid, we'll figure that out
Yeah, because-
prior to, before it goes to the tax bill.
Yeah, the overpayment was $56.50. If you deduct this, roughly $1,100 from that, add it to this, it's math. You gotta-
We'll most certainly make sure you're
If I'm
not
wrong, I
over.
apologize, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. You know, you get kind of caught up in these numbers
Right.
sometimes.
So first of all, I appreciate you being here for 50 some years. I mean, the one thing that is a little bit of a problem is that it took so long to figure this out. I read in your letter as to why. I get that. The village has to purchase the water from the city of Milwaukee, so we are being charged that no matter what, whether it goes, like in your case, it's under a building, the water usage is still being used and that cost is being bared by the village of Butler.
And I
So
did pay for the water usage.
I understand.
Yeah.
And so the front office has determined an amount of what was that number, Ben?
The 1,656.21.
So what they,
26% of.
well, I understand, but I mean, we can't go back to, if our books have been closed and audited and those are complete. So we can't go back into 22, 23, 24 because we're done with those. So
See, I mean, in my business, we could do that. I mean, I don't see how I can be overcharged that much. Even right now, like I said, we've paid that 102 twice for each month. What you're asking is $4,500 over and above that. It just doesn't seem fair and honest. No, I understand you guys got to deal with somebody else, but I have no idea how that works, you know?
well, and we get audited and we hire auditors in and we have to go through a financial audit every year. So our books are closed and the auditors have approved those numbers. So for us to go back into 22, 23, 24, it just doesn't happen because it's not a fault of ours that we have to go back, but to redo all the audit numbers to try to give something in those years would be just not feasible. I don't understand the overages and I'd like you to work with front office on that, but I'm good with this year's books are still open. So the village has looked at the numbers and they said a refund of $16.56 would be appropriate. And that's MMSD taking not getting, because the money didn't go through into the sewer system. Because we have places that do have water leaks that are running through the toilets and that the sewer is actually being utilized.
Right.
So we can't refund any of that, but because this was underground, it wasn't going into MMSD, but we were still using the water. So the village is still paying for that water leak.
And if I can just provide some clarity as to, again, just some of the numbers might get confusing depending on how you add them up and determine them. But basically, what I was stating is that there is still an outstanding balance on the utility billing account that has not been paid, and that he paid the most recent quarter, but the I think 2 quarters or so prior to that have not been paid yet. And that includes the charges with regards to water and storm sewer and fire protection. So again, the bill is broken down into those different sections. So again, those are still outstanding as to, again, what has been metered and billed. Again, I think that what he might be referring to is that, he's paid what he considers to be inflated bills, and that amount equals more than what those bills are. But the thing is that it would be, again, it would be it's difficult to explain, but we have the different line items. So it would be, technically, yes, if he may have paid more in sewer in theory than he should have, But that does not balance out the cost of like the water and stuff. Again, the bill overall might get a credit on it, but there's still payments that have to go to the different utilities, and I'm not exactly sure if we put a credit on there how that would all get divided out. I don't know if there would be a transfer between the funds for the utility. Again, it's just a little bit complicated that I would have to talk to probably the auditors about. But I guess I just wanted to bring that up, that it's broken down, not just one giant charge.
So the refund being proposed of 1656.21, is that just for sewer?
That's just for the sewer.
Right.
Net what he typically was using for the 5 quarters that were, quote unquote, normal, that were the most recent.
Yes. Does any of them 2025 have an interest on it at all?
There are some penalties associated with the non-payment. Those I apologize, I did not include in there, but I would be fine with adding those up and waiving those. If you wanted to make a motion to add those penalties in there, I can come up with a new number and just waive those for that.
Okay. I think that'd be fair, since, we can't go back. I mean, I know your situation with your staff and stuff. I understand that, but we're locked in on those years in the past. So we can't go back and open our books just to accommodate that.
Wouldn't
Going
your,
forward, yes. And that, what I'd like to do is,
Water bill for 5 years.
well, we can't credit you in the past, because we've paid MMSD for on the assumption it was going through the sewer. So
You understand what I'm,
absolutely.
going forward, I mean, if I can recover, I'm not asking for every penny, but understand my situation. I'm out $10,000 now just to repair and pay the
Sure.
water. And add $5,600. I look at it as I loan the village $5,600, and.
But not really, because we paid the water. I mean, we paid that water. We paid MMSD based on the usage, whether it was used or not.
What I
In theory, it went through the meter.
What I gotta say is I think the system is kind of flawed because of an instance like this, where a company has a water leak and if you don't catch it in the end of the year, you're saying you can't go back any further. It's kind of a flawed system. If it was my system, I would say we've got to have some kind of remedy for somebody that has a situation like this, where the water goes into the ground and the sewer charge, no charge. That's what
I understand it, but
And I don't mean to be, forward on this, but again, what did happen over the course of 3 years. And that's kind of where I'm bringing it back to is that I understand that there's complications and I don't want to be this person, but it did happen over 3 years, and it is the property owner's responsibility to be monitoring the usage. Yes, the village does get those quarterly reports, but we don't understand all the time what's happening in those buildings, because we have increases, very large increases that happen routinely in various buildings. We go and check them out and they say, oh yeah, we just really hit production. We got a huge hit on this contract. Now we're using a bunch more water. So I guess I just wanted to, again, bring the village's side of things into it, where we do monitor it every quarter, but again, we can't catch everything, and it is the property owner's responsibility.
and the only reason we're entertaining this is because it did not go through the sewer system, because we've had other businesses with much worse, actually. And because we contract out with Milwaukee, so we pay Milwaukee and we're paying MMSD. So we are bearing that cost to begin with. But what the village did determine is that we could give you a credit. The initial number is $1,656.21. And that's based on 2025's numbers. And then I am willing to add in there to eliminate any penalties and interest. And that would be back to the 22.
That would be all the way. That would be the full year
Of
2025. It would be because the penalties get assessed monthly.
So would the current penalties and interest include the numbers or balance from 22 through 20?
No, because that again, that closes out at the end of the year. That gets exported to the tax bill if it's not paid.
Okay.
So that never happened in this situation. All those were paid off.
Okay.
But again, that's another one of those kind of finality things where any delinquent charges do get charged off to the tax roll.
So,
My lack of understanding how all that stuff works, is there any way we can recover more than $1,600 of?
I'm willing to,
$500
I'll make a motion I'll propose this, the 165621. And then we will eliminate whatever your interest and penalties are for 2025. And I don't know what that number is.
interest and penalties on an overpayment?
It's not an overpayment,
I paid an interest and
I-
penalties on $4,500.
but you use the water.
We paid for the water. We paid for the usage of the water. This is the sewer. The water went into the ground.
Right, but I can't go back to 24. I can't go back to 22, 23. I can only work on 25. That's all I can do. And I'm not gonna ask the village to go back and contact our auditors and open up our books. I can't. Because at the end of the day, you use the water. Or the water went through your meter.
And we paid for that. We paid for all of that. Water that went into
Right,
the ground.
but we paid MMSD already for your usage of that water, not knowing. So it's better than, I'm adding in whatever, we'll eliminate those, so it's a little bit better than the 1656. And front office can give you that number. It's the best I can do.
What about bills going forward?
Those should be then normal.
He's asking if there would be credits to the sewer account, his sewer bill going forward, that he would be able to make up the remainder of that. Which it is in essence the same type of thing that we're doing right now, is we're basically putting the credit on the account to reduce the sewer bill as of right now. But he's, like I said, he's asking for credit basically to not pay sewer going forward until that full amount has been realized.
So all these numbers have been paid.
The numbers from until the end of 2024 have been paid. There's still open utility bills in 2025 that include water, that include storm sewer, that include fire protection.
Well, whatever you prefer, if you want a credit on your account.
You gotta look at the numbers. That's hard, I think, for you to understand, and it's hard for me to understand, but
Me too.
if you go through the numbers, we paid all the water bills, from what I understand, we paid all the water bills, and we paid a portion of the sewer bills amounting to double what it would normally be. That's from my understanding. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on it. In other words, that 102.25 for the 11 quarters, we paid all that plus.
Well, like I said, through
Accounting thing, you have to look at.
through 2024, like I said, everything has been paid.
So,
But like I said, if I go into the utility billing software right now, there was a payment for this most recent quarter, but the quarters before that, we don't have a payment being registered. Again, I believe what he's trying to say is that he has paid over the course of these 11 months, the over and above what's actually outstanding on the current bill. But like I said, that bill includes water charges and sewer charges, storm sewer charges.
Actually, if you look at it this way, if you look at the total number of totals, we owe $4,500 total. Right then, we owe $4,500 and some dollars total.
As of this time, that's approximately, yes.
We overcharged $5,650. So we in fact paid $1,100 of that.
Yeah, well, so can we just make a motion? I'm willing to give you the credit of 165621. I'm willing to eliminate interest and penalties. However, front office wants to work with you, I'm absolutely fine with that. At the end of the day, whatever the number is, you get the credit of 165621.
Right. Did we consider going forward?
You guys can, I think Ben, would you be able to figure that out going forward? That doesn't seem to concern.
You'll offset some,
Again,
you're basically asking for $4,500 of overpayment, and you're willing to give me $1,600 back. What I'm saying is offset a little better than that by going forward.
I can't.
Bills
No.
coming forward.
No, going forward, let's say you had a zero balance. As of today, let's say you had a zero balance. Your next bill would be normal, right?
But if you waive the next bill, that would go towards the 4,500.
Again, we're getting into
We're-
territory where, again, there is multiple parts of the bill. Again, what I believe he is asking for is that there's a credit put on the sewer portion of the bill that would offset the total bill itself. Basically what would happen is he would not pay a bill going forward because the credit to the sewer account would offset all the charges incurred on the actual bill of all the other items.
Could the village just issue a check back for 1656.21?
I can do that. Again, the easiest would just be to reduce the current bills that are outstanding.
Okay. Does that make
And,
sense?
and,
At the end of the day, I'll get a credit for 1651.21 cents.
and going forward, again, we would be entering into like a very weird area where we would have to then track all of these credits to get to that amount. And then like I said,
Whatever's
it's really
easiest.
supposed to reflect the usage.
Not President. Trustee Tarks, did you have any questions?
I think you answered them all. The only thing is you outsourced the billing for somebody else to take care of your invoices, as I understand from your reading.
Well, we outsource our bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping, I'm
Have
sorry.
in-house
Okay.
bookkeeping.
I would think that they would notice on the invoice that there's past dues money.
There was no past dues. And this is most February, we're current up until then.
Aren't there any?
Well, again, up until the end of 2024, everything was paid. And February was the first bill of the year. So there would have been no interest or penalties on that. However, I think what you may be getting at is that, and as he stated in his letter, with that outsourcing of the bookkeeping, the first bill that they got was likely the high bill, and they did not go and try to check to see the prior bills and what those were. They just assumed that usage was normal. However, again, I will say, I can't remember exactly when that outsourcing started, but again, there was probably subsequent bills that continued to increase in that usage in that bill.
Plus, they're hard to detect because they're billed every 3 months. So
Yep.
even if I see a monthly financial, it's hard to detect that unless you see the year end, which I did notice, and it was too late.
I
So-
thought they had, don't they put past due amounts on the invoices that they get?
If there is a past due amount, there is a section that says previous balance, yes. But again, for when it started in February, that would not have appeared because everything was current.
Okay.
Good. Okay. So my motion is going to be to apply a credit of $1,656.21 and eliminate any penalties and late fees or interest for 2025. And then I'm going to leave that at the discretion to figure out between yourself and the village administrator.
Okay.
And that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. That's the best we can do. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Adjourned at 6:13. Village meeting will be next.